You see a lot of families here from all over the US and Canada. And people move here for different reasons, but one of the big reasons, especially since COVID, was to get away from what they considered a bit of a tyrannical sort of government situation. So, and also people move for adventure, and it's a pretty good life down here if you can make it work. Not everybody makes it work, but some people come down here 4, 5, 6 years and then they go back home for whatever reason. You see that quite a bit. But there's a lot of families that I know who have been here, a lot of kids who are now adults who have been raised here, and they're pretty healthy and happy. So some of the benefits about all of that is lifestyle. I've talked about this before. I'm walking to the beach right now. I'm going to meet up with a bunch of friends, and I'll see a bunch of people as I'm walking down there. Hola. As I try not to get run over. As I'm walking, it's just very social. So you see people. That activity alone of being social. When I'm back home, I don't know. People are just so reserved, and they're out there walking their little dogs. And if they're out, there's hardly any of that. I put a big value on that, wouldn't you? So that's counts for something. And let's also talk about the fact that I'm probably going to walk on average 5 kilometers a day, minimum, every day. If I don't, for whatever reason, I'll go for a jog and a swim towards I love going at sunset. Put my headphones on, play some music, take a jog to the beach at sunset and go for a dip. I usually talk to people that I meet, strangers on the beach. I ask them if they don't mind looking at my stuff. Never an issue. And then often they'll start talking to me. So, where are you from? There's a lot of that. And it's valuable. Connecting with humans is very, very valuable. It's a very important activity. So that is enhanced tenfold down here. Fresh air, walking, exercise, and pretty good food. You could easily ruin it in the food department if you drink Coke every day, all day, and eat nothing but butter tarts and pizza. That's going to be a problem. So don't do that. But I eat pretty healthy, and so does my wife. Anyway, so yeah, those are some of the benefits. Social, healthy, hola, and all that good stuff. And a lot of people come here with their children to give them a different life, whether or not they're escaping tyranny or not. The kids are going to have a pretty amazing life. There's one couple that came here from Israel like a million years ago, maybe 20 years ago. They started a restaurant in town. It's a pretty successful little restaurant. It's called a falafel bar. They sold it about 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know where they're at these days, but I remember talking to the mom. She told me that when her and her husband were young, they were gonna go on a world adventure, and they had no plans. They just ended up in this area. They ended up over in a little town called Avellanas, where there was literally no hydro, nothing. And they had a house, and that's where they started raising their family. I think they have 2 boys. And I'm like, wow. Well, what did you guys do? They said, oh, we just played games, we went swimming, blah, blah, blah. Wow, what a life, eh? Ain't that something? So anyways, nowadays we've got a lot of extra stuff to our avail because we have the internet, and we have a lot of opportunities to connect with others via online. And if you go online, especially on Facebook, there's a ton of groups dedicated to moving to Costa Rica. And you get people asking very naive questions. They're like, okay, what do I want to move? What do I do? Instead of doing some initial research and talking to people. So if you go on this channel, I Love Costa Rica, I've interviewed a few people, and I plan on interviewing more to tell their story of how they ended up here. You probably know my story, but I won't repeat it, but we've all got stories. And yeah, there's nothing like traveling. It's scary, but you got to face your fears and keep moving on. There's a lot of advantages just to traveling alone, let alone to traveling and moving to a place like down here and taking advantage of all the things I just listed. So yeah, go on Facebook if you want to connect with others and do some research. Amazing how much content is out there. Amazing how many experiences there are down here. So I'll close off with one final thought. If you're considering moving to a new country like Costa Rica or wherever, it's always advised that you try it. Go down for a few weeks, and you go down for a few months, and you go down for 4 months or whatever. You just want to make sure you're not acting too impulsively. So that's pretty much what we did. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. All right. I'll talk to you later.